Back when I was younger, I was a bit of an outcast. A freak, if you will. Well, I say that like I'm not still a bit of a freak now. I'm sitting on my computer with a hunch as I tap away at my keyboard. But that's beside the point. I'm writing this down to try and grasp the memories. 10 years is a long-ass time, and I've kept Pandora's box closed for all that time. But I have to open it up. When I was around 12, 13, I went to an all-boys school. Ironic considering I'm not a boy. Not anymore, I mean. You can imagine the environment that was like. A big pile of young men trying desperately to be better and stronger than each other. I wasn't bullied or anything. I was like a ghost in there. No one would talk to me, consider me, or even remember my name. I didn't mind this too much. My own thoughts were enough to keep me company. I've always been an imaginative person. I like to make my own stories and people I can spend time with. It's pretty pathetic, I know, but it was easier than making friends. My school was old, like 70 years old. It looked like the stuff you'd find in a schlocky horror movie with vampires and gargoyles. The entire building had a strange breeze moving through it, poking through the bricks and whistling through the halls. It sucked is what I'm trying to say. I don't remember when it started or when I first noticed it, but the bathrooms were odd. The lights would shut off and on at random, the ventilation would become stuttered and shaky like a panicked animal, and the tiles that covered the walls and floor would fall off like something pushed them out from the other side. But the worst of it was the mirror. It was subtle, it didn't do it all the time, but it was just slightly off. I remember it being slightly delayed, only a tiny amount, almost unrecognizable. But it was there, I could tell. Sometimes it would mess with the way you looked, making your eyes slightly too far apart, or smacking your hair a bit longer than normal. As strange as it was, I wasn't scared of it, it was almost funny. It's something that would wait for me there, and I could see it. And it could see me too. As sad as it sounded, the mirror was my only friend. My visits to those bathrooms started to become clockwork. As disgusting as that sounds out of context, I'd spend a lot of my time just staring into the mirror, seeing what new tricks it pulled on me. It didn't seem so strange at the time. It was kind of like a toxic friendship. You only know what's bad for you after it was over. Looking back at what I've written, it seems like I'm making this up. I'm not. I'm writing this with every ounce of sincerity I can muster. This happened. It must have been a couple of months before I felt like something was wrong. It was like a switch flipped in my mind where all my content turned to a growing sense of unease. I didn't stop going to the mirror, whether it was stupidity or willful ignorance. I couldn't tell you. I remember when I looked into the mirror, meeting my own eyes as I just stood there. I don't think I blinked for 5, maybe 10 minutes. I was almost scared to close my eyes. I was worried what would happen if I did. I felt the dryness crawl into my eyes as I began to tear up. After what felt like hours of glaring at my own reflection, my eyes forced themselves shut. I quickly snapped them open again, inhaling sharply as if I was expecting someone else to stare at me in the mirror. But it was just my reflection. It was just me in the mirror. Still feeling that heavy sense of dread, I ran out of the bathroom, slamming the door behind me. I don't know why I did what I did next. Every bone in my body was telling me just to walk away and forget everything that had happened. But I turned to face the door and steadily opened it. Across the room, in the mirror, my reflection still stood. It hadn't moved. It just stood there staring at me. I remember muttering a constant string of no over and over again, inching closer and closer to the mirror as I tried to make sense of what I was seeing. I finally stood in front of the thing. My breath grew heavy as I stared into my own eyes, as my reflection met me back with an indifferent look. I watched as its mouth fell open as a horrid growing voice escaped its maw.
Why do you keep doing this to us?
It spoke to me with a sense of longing, a sense of tiredness. Before I could even respond, it raised its bony hand and launched it at the mirror, moving through the glass like it was liquid and grabbing me by my shoulder. I felt its stiff fingers digging into me and pulling me towards the mirror. I've never fought against anything harder in my life. I ripped it off my shoulder and sprinted out of there. I didn't go to school for the next couple of days. I felt sick to my stomach at the thought of getting closer to that mirror. This is a memory I've tried to hide under lock and key, but I hope that I've opened up to it. I can finally move on.